In 1946, the historic building that you see behind me served as the winter White House of President Harry S. Truman. He loved Key West. From 1945 to 1953, he spent 11 working vacations on the island. He made some of the most important decisions of his presidency right here at the Truman Little White House. We'll talk more about President Truman with someone who knew him very well, his grandson, Clifton Truman Daniel. Now, there have to be some disadvantages to being a descendant of a president, but there also have to be some advantages, like being able to come to Key West.
And that is one of the major advantages to being Harry Truman's grandson, yes.
Your grandfather came down here in 1946, and he just fell in love with Key West. What do you think he loved most?
First of all, he liked the warm weather. He had a head cold in Washington, D.C. in 1946 in March, and he couldn't shake it. It was cold and wet and miserable in D.C. So Admiral Nimitz said, well, we've got a submarine base down in Key West. It's warm, and you can't go any further south without leaving the continental United States. So Grandpa said, great, make it happen. I don't know how long it took them, a week to get a president all geared up and out. But he still had the cold when he got here. He woke up the first morning and it was gone. So he liked the weather, he liked the people, he liked the relaxed atmosphere. He brought his staff with him. He brought reporters with him. They wore Hawaiian shirts, they played poker. It was a good restaurant. He worked down here.
Yeah, he didn't just relax, he made some really important decisions in his career.
The one that pops into my mind, of course, is the firing of General MacArthur. He was talking about that down here with his staff.
I love coming to the Truman Little White House. I love learning about the history here, and I love looking at all the things that were around when your grandfather was here, and one of those is the poker table that is downstairs. Your grandfather loved to play poker.
Yeah, that was relaxation. Grandpa, I wrote a book a while ago about my grandmother's letters to my grandfather, and I found that she actually she almost sort of encouraged the poker playing. She knew this was relaxation for him. People often think that maybe she didn't like it or she let him get away with it behind her back, but she knew, and she approved of the recreation. They never played for much money. It was penny ante poker, and if somebody went out, they went around the table and collected a little bit from everybody's pot so he could get back in. So it was all just in fun.
What would you like people to really take away about your grandfather?
Somebody said this the other day when they had been down here and visited the Little White House, and they were surprised at how simple it was. It's a nice house, it's well kept, but it's not fancy. And I think that was my grandfather. He liked things plain and simple. He was a middle-class guy. He was approachable, he was accessible, straightforward. And the house is the same way. It says all that about him.
Wonderful. It's a pleasure to talk with you. Thank you so much for sitting down with us. And of course, be sure to come to the Truman Little White House. It is the only presidential museum in Florida. It will be a visit that you won't forget.